everybody. I appreciate you stopping by my channel today. This is actually my first video, so I'll introduce myself. I'm Cindy Newcomb. I'm actually a registered nurse by day, and then in the evenings and on weekends, I'm a baker, crafter, potter, seamstress, whatever needs to be done apparently. What I want to do with this channel to start out with is teach basic baking skills. Sorry, that's my Gracie. Got two wild boxers. Because a lot of people don't have someone to teach them these basic skills, and I know they don't teach much in school anymore. So I wanted to just kind of go over the basics, and I'm going to get a cake in the oven, so we'll go over that. First, we're going to go over some equipment. One of the things that you'll need, sorry, it's always lively around here, is measuring spoons. They usually come in a set. There's a tablespoon, a teaspoon, a half a teaspoon, and a fourth of a teaspoon. They're always pretty much those four, but every once in a while you'll get a set that has an eighth of a teaspoon, but not very often. Then you have measuring cups. They come in a fourth of a cup, a third of a cup, a half of a cup, and a cup. Now these are for your dry ingredients. So if you're going to be measuring liquid ingredients, which like water or oil, which we're fixing to do, you want something more like just a graduated measuring cup. Some of them aren't graduated, but sometimes they come in sets. This is a set from Pampered Chef, and there's a 4 cup, a 2 cup, and a 1 cup. So, you know, you can use whatever you need. So, we'll be using both sets, the measuring cups for dry ingredients and the ones for wet ingredients today. Or we may just use the wet ones. Typically, I guess you could just use the wet one. I'm just in a habit of doing a cup of water, but we'll keep it simple today, and we'll use the liquid measuring cups. Now, what we're going to do is, I hear a lot of people say they don't know how to make a cake out of a box. They don't know how to make brownies, so we're going to make a cake. So, the brand that I prefer, this is probably going to be backwards, is Betty Crocker. That's my favorite. I am a certified Wilton cake instructor, cake decorating instructor, and they kind of go hand in hand with Duncan Hines. But to me, Duncan Hines cakes are too moist when you're making a cake to decorate it. So I typically, unless I just don't have a choice, I use Betty Crocker. And the first thing you want to do after you open your box, take the bag out. There's instructions right here on the back, and it tells you to preheat your oven. So I've got my oven on right now, and you preheat your oven to 350, but if you're using a dark pan, you preheat it to 325. And mine are all pretty much light pans because they're more of the professional kind. But you know what? If you don't have equipment, you can probably get some cake pans at Dollar Tree for $1, and those work fine. It's just, you know, whatever you need that you can afford. Just like measuring spoons and measuring cups, they have those at Dollar Tree too. So this cake mix, this is a strawberry cake mix, and it says to use 1 cup of water, a half a cup of vegetable oil, and 3 eggs. Now, vegetable oil, I'm not real picky about vegetable oil. I get whatever's on sale. I've got some Wesson I'm fixing to use up, and I've got some Great Value that I'll start on after I get through with that. Now, when I'm decorating cakes or making frosting, it's always Crisco. I don't buy anything but Crisco because you always get the best results with that. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is get a mixing bowl. You need a mixing bowl. Cut the top off your cake mix and put it in your mixing bowl. Okay, then it says add 1 cup of water. So this is a 1 cup measuring spoon, or measuring cup. Get some water in it. So when you have your cup of water, you pour that in. And then it says use 1/2 cup of vegetable oil. So 1/2 cup of vegetable oil. So this has line markings on it for 1 cup, and then there's a line there that says 1/2. That's 1/2 cup. So there's our 1/2 cup of oil. And then it says 3 eggs. I guess I better get them out of the fridge. And in all actuality, I should have had these out, but I just got home with them from Walmart. So you want your eggs to be warm temperature when you're baking. Now, if you're using, I don't want to say homegrown eggs, but eggs, brown eggs from somebody's house, from their chickens, you want to separate them or open them into a small container. I don't do that with eggs I get like at Walmart or Kroger. So you just crack your egg, put it in. That's 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Now, this says to mix all this together on medium speed or beat vigorously by hand. So if you don't have a mixer, you can use a whisk. And if you don't have a whisk, if all else fails, you can use a fork. It's going to take you a while, but it'll get the job done eventually. But you need to beat it for 2 minutes. So we're going to put our blades in our mixer. Now, when you have a hand mixer, I don't know if it'll reach here, a hand mixer, there's always a blade that's a little bit different, that has notches on it, and you've got to look and see which side that goes in. And I have a KitchenAid, but I just like KitchenAid products. You can use one of those Proctor Silex. They're like, I think $9.97 at Walmart or something. So we're going to mix this for 2 minutes on medium speed. Now, I typically use my stand mixer, but I want people that are not comfortable with tools to know how to use this. And it says medium speed, but when I'm using a hand mixer, I typically go up to high speed. But like I said, I'm used to using the KitchenAid. I hope I can hear you on this. So you just make sure everything's all mixed up. Mix it for 2 minutes. And then when you get ready to finish using your mixer, there's usually an eject button. You just push that, take your blades out. Okay. Now we got to get our pan ready, and you can actually do this before you start mixing up the cake. I use Pam baking spray. Now there is a can called Baker's Joy, and that's what I used to use. But I started using this when I got it on sale at Kroger one time for a good deal, and I really like the Pam better. So what we're going to do is we're going to shake it up. Now the difference between this and the other kind is that's just oil. This has like your Crisco and flour in it, so you don't have to rub Crisco all over your pan and put flour in it and shake it up and make a mess, because that's what I do. But be sure you do this over the sink. So I shake it up real good. I'm spraying around the sides, and I'm spraying around the bottom. So see, it's all coated in there. I guess I'm not very organized in this spatula. And you don't have to use a spatula. This is just tools I'm used to using. So what you want to do is you want to fill your cake pan half full. So this will not take all of this. And I'm actually baking several cakes, so we're starting out simple. Then if you take your cake pan, after you get it half full, see it's half full, I don't know if you can see that or not, you tap it on the counter a few times, and what that does is that releases the air bubbles, so they'll come to the top. Otherwise you might have pockets of air in your cake. Let's see. And I actually cook my cakes at 325. I have a convection oven, so mine's a little bit different, but if you're cooking it in a regular oven, it's ready to go in the oven now. And it has your times right down here. So if you're using 2 8-inch round cakes, which if we had 2 of these, it's like 28 to 33 minutes. So it may not take quite that long, but you'll typically fill 2 pans. And the thing is, use your nose. I use my nose. I don't set my timer most of the time. I smell it. When I start smelling my cake, it's time to check my cake. And when it just barely starts pulling away from the edges and you can stick a toothpick in and it's coming out just almost perfectly clean, your cake is done. Take it out of the oven and set it to the side for a minute. So we're going to put this in the oven. Okay, so we're going to let that bake, and I'll get back with you when it comes out of the oven and we'll see what it looks like. Okay, so I'm back. I timed it just for y'all. I didn't just depend on my nose. And I timed it for 28 minutes, and it needed 3 more cooking at 325. So if you were cooking it at 350, 28 minutes should have been about perfect. Now there's 2 things that you will use when doing baking, especially cakes: toothpicks and paper towels. I'm gonna see if I can raise this up for you. Now this is what the cake looks like. It should be kind of firm to the touch. You should be able to stick a toothpick in and it come out almost clean. I don't know if y'all can see that or not. Just barely sticking to it. I cook mine low because I like them to be moist. Nothing worse than a dry cake. But anyway, 2 other things I wanted to mention. This is a whisk, in case someone doesn't know what a whisk looks like, and you just use it instead of your mixer. A lot of times, like if you're making whipped cream or something, chefs must have really strong arm muscles, because that would wear me out. This is a spatula, and this is just a cheapie. A lot of my things I use are Pampered Chef, but I used to sell Pampered Chef, so don't think you got to go out and buy Pampered Chef. But anyway, that is it for today. I hope y'all enjoyed your cake baking lesson and just a little bit of basic skills. If you want to come back for some more of this madness around here, just go ahead and subscribe, and we'll see what else we can come up with. Maybe we'll frost a cake next time, and you can see how that works and make frosting from scratch. Anyway, well, thanks for stopping by, and y'all have a great day.